everyone, my name is Maddie, welcome to my channel and welcome to this video, which is the return of Dart Attack. So for anyone that's been watching my videos for pretty much any length of time, you will recognize Dart Attack. Normally Dart Attack is used to choose my TBRs. We're doing something a little bit different this month. Dart Attack is choosing my 2022 reading goals. So I'll talk about this in a little bit more detail, but just quickly we're going to address the fact that I'm exceedingly overdressed for Dart Attack. I am wearing a blazer, I am wearing a full-on satin suit. There is a reason for this. The reason is very simply I'm filming this on New Year's Eve and it's going up on New Year's Day, and I bought this suit for Christmas parties and New Year's parties. And then they all got cancelled because COVID. So I want an excuse to wear my suit and I'm gonna wear it for this video because I like it and it looks cool. So I'm massively overdressed for Dart Attack, but it's fun. So for anyone that doesn't recognize Dart Attack or is new to my channel, I will link the playlist in the corner and in the description below. It is basically a very simple game. I throw the dart, it gives me a prompt, and normally I read a book to fit that prompt. Obviously this month is a little different, but that is the basis which we're still going to be working with today. So, Dart Attack choosing my 2022 reading goals. You will see Dart Attack later this year choosing TBRs, but just for January we're doing something a little bit different. I don't really know what my reading goals are for 2022. I have a couple in mind, but I thought, as we have Dart Attack and I've been wanting to play for months and haven't been able to due to reading slumps and life, why not let Dart Attack make the decisions for me? So we have a series of reading goals that this is going to help me choosing, and basically we're just going to get into it pretty quickly. So the very first goal, the simple starting goal for Dart Attack to choose me, is how many books am I aiming to read in 2022? Now, I have set a starting point of 36. That to me is a sensible goal. It is way lower than normal. I've read over 100 books every year for the last 3 years and 80 the year before that. So 36 is way lower than normal for me. But with the horrible slump I've been in for the last few months, I was being really cautious and I was like, we'll go with 3 a month, 36, that seems about right. However, because it's way lower and there's loads of flexibility, and quite frankly, I don't really care what the goal is, I'm gonna let Dart Attack decide my final reading goal. So the way we're gonna do this, we'll get into it in just a second, is I am going to put up on this board the numbers -5 through +5, and they'll be random, and I'm gonna throw 3 darts. We are then going to apply whichever 3 numbers we get to that 36, and just to make it clear, these darker rings are normally doubles and triples. They are both going to be doubles today, otherwise we could end up with a stupidly high number if I was really unlucky. So basically, with a starting point of 36 and 3 darts, it does work out that my reading goal will end up somewhere between 6 and 66. So there's a big old realm of possibility here. It could end up anywhere. I wouldn't mind at all. I'd actually be quite happy if it ends up a bit higher instead of lower. I mean, it doesn't matter. If I hit 36 in the first 4 months of the year, then great, I either change my reading goal or just keep reading. It doesn't matter at all, but I like having, something to strive for. So I'd be quite happy if it goes up towards kind of the 50 mark. And then once we've done this, we'll move more into kind of the thematic reading goals, but let's just get me a number first. So I shuffled up all the prompts, they are stuck on the board in a random order. Now let's go through 3 darts and see what my reading goal is going to be for 2022. Okay, let's do these first 3 throws. You can really see the suit. I love it so much. Why am I not going outside at the moment? It's so annoying. But anyway, let's do these first 3 throws. Starting point is 36. Let's see where we end up. Also, if I hit anywhere in the bullseye, I'm just kind of gonna pretend the lines go to the middle and see which section it ends in. Let's call the bullseye doubles as well, just so we have 3 areas that count as doubles. So any dark section and the bullseye will be double of its relevant section. I really want it to go up, so oh my god, there's no good area because they're all mixed in. Let's go towards the 5 and 1. There's -4 in either. I'm not gonna aim. We all know I can't aim. Let's just throw and see what happens. 3 + 3, 39. Okay, what's next? -4, 35, okay. Final throw. What is my reading goal for 2022 gonna be? I don't know. 36! Are you kidding me? That's so boring. It just equaled out. Do I do this again? Okay, I'm gonna do this again. And then I premiere these videos, so I'm gonna let people in the premiere vote for whether I should go with the 36, which is very dull because it's exactly how it started, or go with whatever I get next. Let's do it and see what happens. That was such a boring start to this game. Okay, take two. Let's see if I can get something a little bit more interesting this time. So we're gonna start with 5. Okay, so that takes me to 41. Exciting. And then, oh my God, okay, 38. Come on, come on. Let's get it higher than that. Okay, I missed altogether, so we're gonna throw that one again. Okay, coming back from a miss, we are going with -2, which takes me back to 36. Okay, well, the fates have decided my reading goal of the year is 36. Okay, so with the extremely anticlimactic start out of the way, 36 books is my reading goal for 2022. That, I really should have just announced it instead of trying to play Dust Attack for it, but there we go. But anyway, moving on. The next 2 sections we'll be picking kind of specific books and series, and then the final section we'll be picking themes to focus on for the year. So, first up, a goal I have every year, like literally everyone on BookTube, is to read more series and also to try and get some of the books that intimidate me. And previous years, I've set myself like 10 intimidating books in 10 series, and that's such a huge proportion of the number of books I'm going to read in the year that I'm never, ever, ever gonna do that, ever. It's not gonna happen. So what I have done this year is I've made a stack of prompts with I think 12 or 13 series and intimidating books, and I'm gonna put them on the board face down this time. I did the numbers face out so I could add up as I went, and I'm going to choose 3 of those. So it could be 3 intimidating books, it could be 3 series. A lot of these series are series I've either read the first book or read quite a few of or want to reread. It can be any above. Quite a few of the intimidating books are rereads. I'll run through all of them quickly before we put them on the board. But I thought this would be a fun way of choosing which ones I'm going to get to. My hope would be to get to all of these within the year, but I'm not going to set myself that goal because for me it's very unrealistic. So Dart Stack is going to decide for me which 3 I absolutely have to prioritize. So first up for series, we have the Wayfarer series by Becky Chambers, which is starting with A Small Way to a Long Angry Planet. I've loved Psalm for the Wild Bit by Becky Chambers, so hopefully I'll love this series. We have the Mergebot Diaries. I have read the first book, I really enjoyed it, I've been meaning to continue. I'm not necessarily saying I would finish this series because there are a lot of them, same with Wayfarers, but just, you know, series to focus on. We then have Sidekick Squad by C.B. Lee, starting with Not Your Sidekick. Again, I've read the first book and loved it. I need to reread it to read the other 2, but I really want to read this series, so that's on there. We have Wolfsong by T.J. Klune, 4-book series about gay wolves, basically, or werewolves. I want to read it, I love T.J. Klune, it's a good option. We have the Greenbone Saga. I have read Jade City. For anyone that was watching my vlogs or sprints recently, it took me about 6 weeks to read, so I really need the motivation to continue with this series. And then finally, we have Heroes of Olympus by Rick Riordan. Riordan? I never know. Rick, Uncle Rick, we love him. The Heroes of Olympus series. I love Percy Jackson. I've been meaning to continue for ages, especially as I want to get to Trials of Apollo. So we're gonna try and read Heroes of Olympus. And then for intimidating reads, we have Middle Game, which is a reread, but it's quite a taxing book. And also I'm really nervous that I won't like it as much as I did the first time, and therefore it's intimidating to me, even though I consider it one of my favorites. But the sequel's coming out this year and I've wanted to reread it literally since I read it, so perfect timing. Another reread, Prayer of the Orange Tree. Similarly, at some point, new books will be coming out in this world. I loved it. I'm terrified of it because it's huge in high fantasy and fantasy scares me. We have A Little Life. This has been on so many intimidating lists, but everyone swears I will love it, and I think I will too, so it's on there. We have A Court of Wings and Ruin. I've read ACOTAR, I've read Akamath. I have practically no interest in reading this book, but I want to read A Court of Silver Flames, so I'm giving myself one more attempt, another year of read this goddamn book, and then hopefully I can read A Court of Silver Flames, which I actually want to read. We have Detransition Baby, which is adult contemporary fiction. I don't know why this intimidates me, but it does. So, you know. I want to read it though. And then finally we have A Marvelous Light by Freya Marske. This is adult fantasy, like Edwardian setting. It's very much queer. I'm very excited for it. For some reason I'm terrified of it. Do we know why? Absolutely not, but we're gonna go with it. So I'm going to shuffle these and put them face down. That are more than will fit on the board, because obviously when I hit one, I will take that off the board and replace it. So let's go. Okay, they are shuffled, they're on the board. Let's see what the first intimidating read and/or series that I have to try and get to in 2022 is going to be. As I said, I'm hoping to get to all of these, but I also know I won't. So let's pick out some priorities. First up, we have red. Let's see what it is. Red is perfect. The Greenbone Saga. So we have the perfect first choice of the Greenbone Saga, which is Jade City, Jade War, and Jade Legacy. I have read Jade City. I am hoping to read Jade War as a buddy read with Jade and Steph starting kind of end of January, early February. Haven't told them that's when we're doing it yet, but that's what I've decided. And then I will make myself read Jade Legacy. This is perfect because I know I need motivation to read this series, but I also know I really want to read it. I will also say for any of these series, I'm allowed to DNF them in any of these books. Like I don't have to read them to completion. DNFs are always allowed, but perfect first option. I'm going to read the Greenbone Saga this year. Okay, I've just replaced that prompt on red. I didn't show you what it was because there's only 2 options. So I've just put one up and then the other one will go up next time anyway. So they'll all end up on the board at some point anyway, and you've seen all the options. So throw 2 is going to be, let's aim for like the other half of the board. Dark green, directly opposite. Quite proud of that throw. Ooh, scary. Okay, it's definitely intimidating. The Priory of the Orange Tree. This is probably one of my lower priority ones because it is a reread, even though it is a reread I've been meaning to do for about 2 years now. So, okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. I started a reread of this in like 2020, got 150 pages in, then put it down. We're gonna do it, like 850 pages of high fantasy at some point this year. I'll do it. We'll make it happen. Okay, final throw. What is the third kind of priority series or intimidating book I'm going to make myself get to in 2022? Yellow. Let's see what it is. Ooh, exciting. So the third and final priority is the Murderbot Diaries. Very excited about that. Sci-fi novellas, which I love, and I really enjoyed the first one. So I'm really excited for this. This feels like a series that I know I will love and I really want to read, but for whatever reason, I kind of just completely forget about a lot. Like, obviously I want to read all of these series, but a lot of them are on my mind all the time. Like, oh, I need to read that. I need to get to it. This one, I just forget a lot. So there we go. It's now a priority. Perfect. So there we go. That worked out really well. So the series and intimidating reads I'm going to be focusing on in 2022 are the Greenbone Saga, which I'm going to set the goal of finishing, the Priory of the Orange Tree, which is obviously just one book, so I'm going to finish it, and the Murderbot Diaries, which I'm not necessarily going to set the goal of completely finishing because I think there are like 5 novellas and a full-length book, though the novellas, so it should be fine, but at the very least I want to make really good progress on. I would love to finish it, but I'm not necessarily going to set that as a strict goal. So now we're on to round 3, and this round is these books will self-destruct in 12 months. I am not someone that particularly unhauls a lot. I really don't. I love having a huge TBR. I'm not bothered if I own a book for a good few years before I read it. I don't want an utterly ridiculous TBR, and it is getting bigger and bigger, but I'm not someone that's like, oh, I've not read it within a year of getting it, I need to get rid of it. Like, I'm really not that fussed. However, sometimes I need a bit of a fire under my ass to make me read things. So I've never done a full these books will self-destruct in 12 months video because I just know myself and I wouldn't unhaul them. I just wouldn't unhaul them if I hadn't got to them. It's just not gonna happen. So this is technically a these books will self-destruct in 12 months section. Again, I will be choosing 3, I will throw 3 darts, and technically I will have to unhaul them. That won't happen. This is basically just gonna choose 3 books that I need the kick to read because I don't seem to do it myself, and I will read them this year. Though technically, if I haven't read them by the end of the year, I will have to unhaul them. But that's not gonna happen, so it's fine. But let's run through the options really quickly. First, we have 7 Tears at High Tide. You can see I had to handwrite these ones. I had to come back to my flat. I couldn't print them at home or at my family's home. So these are messy, sorry. But we have 7 Tears at High Tide by C.B. Lee, which is, God, what are they called? Selkie. It's about Selkie. It's like a fantasy, not too long. It sounds interesting, and I love C.B. Lee anyway, so that's fun. We have Running with Lions by Julian Winters. Again, a fun YA queer contemporary. None of these books are like books I think I'm gonna dislike. It's not like an unhaul project like that. These are just books that for whatever reason, even though I should have definitely read them by now, I still haven't. And so I'm giving myself like a reason that I have to read them now. And on that note, we have These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I was meant to read this when it came out last year, and then I swore to myself I'd read it when the sequel came out. Sequel has now been out for many months now. I've not read the first book, so that's on the list. We have Ace of Shades. I, years ago, traded for an arc of this and then still haven't read it. So I went through all the effort of acquiring an arc and then didn't read the damn book. So, Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. We have We're Okay by Nina LaCour. Again, this is not a scary book. It's tiny and I think I would love it. But for whatever reason, I never picked the damn thing up. It's been on so many TBR and I've never got to it. So maybe this is the motivation I need. We then have Upright Women Wanted. This is more along the lines of, if I don't get to it, you know what, maybe I just don't want to read it. This is a tour novella, scary, me saying I may not like it, but I know my mum read it and really didn't like it, but I know Kayla from Books and Lala read it and I think she really enjoyed it. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. Hopefully I'll love it, but I need a bit of a kick up the arse to read it. I have my mum's copy because she unhauled it, so you never know. We then have Descendant of the Crane. Again, I got an arc of this and I've still not read the damn thing. I think I'll love it. I just need to get to it. This is like a YA fantasy. We then have The Idiot by Elif Bachman. It's definitely not that name. Something along those lines. This is like a new adult contemporary. It's one of those I heard about from like one or two people, thought it sounded great, bought it from a charity shop, and it's sat on my shelf ever since with me having no intention of picking it up. I need to make myself read the damn book. We then have Vampires Never Get Old by a variety of authors. The two that I'm most interested in are V. Schwab, and I think Zoraida Cordova has a short story in this collection as well. Could be wrong, but I think that's right. And I don't always do well with short stories, so I keep putting off reading this, and I need to. So Vampires Never Get Old. We have Meet Cute Diary. This was a 2021 release. I haven't had it that long. And again, I got an arc of it, and I haven't read the damn thing, and I got this. It was like one of my most anticipated books. I thought I was going to adore it. I've just never picked it up. I don't know why. Maybe this will make me. And then finally, An Enchantment of Ravens. I put off reading this book for forever, and then not put off reading it, put off buying this book for forever. Finally bought it. Like, I'll read it right now. That was months ago. Still haven't read it. So we're going to shuffle these, put them on the board, find out which 3 books I am going to get to this year. I could have sworn I made 12 of these prompts, but I only seem to have 11, so I only seem to have 1 spare. I don't know why. I don't know what the other book originally was. I don't know if I've just dropped one or lost one. We're gonna go with 11. We'll just have a gap the last time I read. Throw the dart. It's fine. Okay? Throw one. Which book am I going to get to in 2022? Dark, light orange. Light orange. Let's see what it is. It is 7 Tears at High Tide. So I just went and grabbed it. This is 7 Tears at High Tide. It's 7 Tears, right? Yeah, I'm not mad. By C.B. Lee. It's not too long. I'm very excited. It'll be queer because it's C.B. Lee. What's it about? Someone walks to the ocean's edge with a broken heart. Remembering a legend his mother told him, he let 7 tears fall into the sea. I just want one summer to be happy and in love. Ooh, and he saves someone from the ocean who is a Selkie. This will be good. I'm excited. I like the kind of Selkie myth. It'll be a good read. Okay, I've replaced that book. We're gonna do the second throw and then we'll have a gap, but that's fine. So second throw is purple. Let's see what it is. Ooh, The Idiot. Okay, this is, as kind of this whole list implies, one of my lower priority books, The Idiot by Elif Bachman, not Bachman, that's Frederick Bachman, oh dear. I have no idea how I'm gonna feel about this book. I've said I'm gonna read it for forever and I haven't got to it, so we're gonna get to it this year, and if not, I will finally accept defeat and just get rid of it. Okay, so not replacing the prompt because I don't have another one, but let's just hope I don't hit purple again. Let's do the third and final throw to see which book I'll be reading in 2022. Dark orange, let's see what it is. Ooh, okay. Vampires Never Get Old. Okay, so the third one is Vampires Never Get Old. This is a short story collection. I need to go grab it. Got it. Okay, so Vampires Never Get Old. It's short stories about vampires. I don't always get on with short stories, but I think the one V. Schwab wrote for this. No, it wasn't. It was one thing. I don't freaking know. I need to read it. It has some of my favorite authors in it. I probably won't read it until like October, but I do have the whole year, so that's fine. So we actually ended up with a pretty nice variety from that. We have a kind of fantasy, mystical YA self-pubbed book. We have new adult, just contemporary, I think it's like a university setting maybe. And we have YA short stories about vampires. So 3 very different books, all of which I've been deprioritizing for far too long. But this year I'm gonna have to read them. So that is all the very like specific books and series picked. So what I'm gonna do now is just some general themes. So I have, again, a load of prompts which I'll run through, and these are all themes for reading which I want to focus on this year, and all of these will kind of be on my mind. But you know, you can't focus on like 12 things at once, and some of them are to do with reading specifically, some are to do with the book stuff more generally. And as I said, I want to focus on all of these. I can't do them all, so we're going to pick 3, which I'm really going to keep in mind and drive towards. The first, non-fiction. I'm not setting a specific goal for this. I'm not saying read 6, read 12, however many. Just trying to read a bit more non-fiction. I have some fantastic non-fiction books, both on audio and physically, which I really want to get to, and just don't. So non-fiction is a priority. Next up, we have gifted. I have been gifted so many books over the last couple of years, especially since doing my YouTube channel, and I'm never afraid to buy books for myself. And as a result, I often buy the ones which are my top priorities, and so the ones that get gifted often become lower priority. So again, I'm not setting a number goal or anything, but putting a bit of focus on trying to read the books that have been gifted to me. Next, one that isn't about reading specifically, BookTube watching and supporting. As part of my slump and busyness for the last 6 or so months, I have not been able to watch BookTube or support BookTube. I've watched the occasional video, but barely. I would love to get back to watching a decent bit of BookTube, commenting on people's videos, interacting with people on Twitter, all of this. So that's another goal. Another is reading challenges. I have a couple reading challenges I try to do every year, one being the A to Z challenge and one being Buzzwordathon, but I always kind of half-ass them and don't really focus on them, and then at the end of the year I just kind of look back and be like, did I finish them? And the answer is always no. I've never finished the alphabet challenge and it really bugs me. So if I get this one, then I am really gonna actively keep those 2 challenges in mind and make them happen. On a similar vein, we have readathons. I, again, am a bit rubbish at keeping up with readathons, and if I get this, I'm not gonna do like a readathon every month, but I'm gonna pick 1 or 2 throughout the year and really commit myself to doing them properly instead of doing them halfway. So it might be a weekend readathon, it might be a week, it might be a month. I'm just gonna try and pick a couple and really, really do them well and try and finish it properly. The next is track all books hauled. I love knowing when I get books in and then kind of keeping track of how many of them I've read. Like, have I read 50% of the books I've hauled? Have I barely read any of them? Things like that. And I started really strong with this in 2021, and then about halfway through the year, around about my birthday, completely stopped tracking it, and it annoys me. So gonna try and do better and track every single book I haul, when I hauled it, and keep track of whether I've read it. Another non-reading one is journaling. I have a reading journal. I'm actually gonna do a video, I think, about my reading journal for this year, because I did one last year, which I will link up above, and that was great, and I loved that layout. I stopped it in May because I just never had time to draw the pages and update it, and it was too much work. So I actually spent yesterday designing it on the computer and printing it out and putting it in a folder, meaning I now have my whole year's journal ready to go. I also have the Illumicrate reading journal, which I really like, and I'm gonna be using a combination of those to track my reading this year, as well as my spreadsheet that I always use, but actually keeping up with my journaling. It's one of my goals. The next is mood reading. I am obviously here picking out certain books, and I love doing TBRs and I love doing readathons, and all of these things limit what I can read, and that's fine as long as I still let myself mood read and make sure I keep a focus on reading what I want when I want and not reading things because of pressure. I always love a TBR. It helps guide my reading and it helps me decide what I'm gonna read. It's why I have a TBR game, just because I'm indecisive. I'm never doing it to force myself into a situation, so keeping a focus on reading what I want to when I want to, even if it means I am straying from readathons or TBRs or anything else. The next theme is 2021 releases. There were so many books released in 2021 which I either pre-ordered or bought as soon as they came out and wanted to read, or, you know, had anticipated. I had a whole video of 50 LGBT releases that were coming out in 2021. And I said in that video, I'm not going to read them all because that was way too many. I'll link that video, but I would like to have read a few more of the 2021 releases that I bought because there are a lot of them, and I would be good if I'd read some of them. Next is rereads. You saw in my intimidating list there were quite a few rereads there. I have a lot of rereads which are long overdue. So just to note, 4 of my favourite books are The Night Circus and Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, and The 10,000 Doors of January and the Once and Future Witches by Alex Harrow. And then also my favourite book from this year or the year past was A Psalm for the Wild Book by Becky Chambers. All of those books I've been planning to reread, along with Middle Game and Priory Orange Tree, which I've already spoken about. All of these books are love and ones I want to read again, and I've just never quite got around to it because I always prioritize reading new books. So rereads, actually get them done if I can. Next, we have TBR Veterans. I said earlier, I'm not that bothered if I have lots of books that I've owned for a really long time. As a whole, it doesn't bother me. I also wouldn't mind kind of focusing on getting some of my really old books read, but you know. And then finally is previous TBRs. So this will be going back through my TBR videos probably and just making note of the books that have come up repeatedly and I've either deprioritized or not had time to get to or whatever, and just kind of bumping them up priority list a bit and trying to get to them. So again, I can't do all of these. I am not a superhuman, and I also don't have the brain capacity to hold all of these in my head. So we're gonna shuffle them, put 10 of them on the board, throw 3 darts to pick which 3 of these are kind of gonna be my focus for 2022. Okay, throw number 1 for 2022 focus. Let's see what it's gonna be. Pink, let's see. Oh, fantastic. So, BookTube, watching and supporting. This was probably the one I wanted to come up most, so that works nicely. I am just so excited for this. It's really difficult with the time I have if I'm also wanting to make content for myself, and I am planning to get back to making content a little bit. I should have a video going up in the next week or 2, which is talking about what my videos are probably going to look like this year in terms of schedule, what kind of content, things like that, because it is going to be a bit different because I'm so busy. And I think such an important part to me of being in the BookTube community is supporting others and watching other people's videos, not just making videos myself. And I hate the fact that that's completely dropped off for me. It's just not a thing I've had time to do. This year we're making time. And again, I'm not putting numbers on this like watch 10 videos a month, comment on every video, nothing like that. I'm just gonna make an active effort to keep this in mind and try and watch and support a lot more BookTube and BookTubers throughout the year. So that's been replaced. Let's do my second throw to find out what my next kind of focus area for 2022 is going to be. I think that's in the purple region. It's on the bullseye, but the purple region, so we're going with purple. Journaling. Okay, another one that's not actually about my reading, but the surrounding thing, and that is my journaling. I'm actually really glad this came up because I love having my reading tracked in a really detailed way. I have it all for 2020 and I love looking back at it. It's fascinating to me just seeing all the information, and I'm gutted that I don't have it for 2021 because I just got too busy. So this year, we're not letting that happen again. I have all my pages printed out. I just need to fill them in maybe once a week for about 20 minutes. I can make this happen if I really focus on it. So we're going to do it. It's a top priority. It's gonna happen. Okay, and with that replaced, we're gonna find out my final focus for 2022. Hopefully this actually has something to do with reading, though as I said, all of these are on my mind as focuses. This is just which one's gonna be tip top the priority list, so even if it's not about reading, we'll survive. So here we go, final throw of the whole video, which is really sad. I'm gutted it's over already. I cannot wait till I get to play again, but let's find out what that final priority is going to be. Red, let's see what it is. 2021 releases. So there we have it. 2021 releases is my final priority of the year. I'm happy with that. I really, really do think there were so many amazing books released last year, and I just ended up getting to practically none of them because of the slump. So this year, I'll try and catch up a little bit. It's not gonna be loads. There'll be 2022 releases. There'll be all sorts I wanna read, but I'm gonna try and put a bit of a focus on which 2021 releases I wish I'd read and try and knock some of them out. So that is it, my reading goals as chosen by Dart Attack. I'm really happy with my hilariously boring 36 as my total goal, and then a really good variety of individual books I want to try and prioritize, and then some really good focuses as well. I'm really chuffed with this. I'm so glad someone else could make the decisions for me because I could not decide which of these I wanted to focus on. As you saw, I had 12 whole topics I would love to do. So we've narrowed it down a bit and I'm very excited. I'm so excited for my 2022 reading. Obviously, there is no guarantee that I won't get crazy busy again and I won't fall into another horrific slump, but I'm really feeling like I'm coming out of that. I think for me, that was just a really difficult time of, as I said, being stupidly busy from like June onwards. And I was still trying to get to grips with my job and everything that entails, whereas I'm finally falling into a bit of a rhythm with it and feeling on top of it a year later. And so I'm finally getting back to a point of being able to, you know, prioritize reading and other things I want to do with my life. Also, a big part of June onwards last year was the world reopened a bit and I was seeing a lot of friends who I've not seen in 2 years because of COVID. So, you know, life's getting back to a normal place now where obviously there's still a lot of COVID and there may still be restrictions and who knows what's going on. But I'm at a point now where, you know, I did the mad catch up with everyone I've not seen in ages. So now it's like the regular maintenance of life where I get some weekends free and I'm away some weekends and it'll be fine. But anyway, that's it for my 2022 reading goals. I'm really happy with them. Thank you to anyone who watched this. I hope you're glad to see Dart Attack coming back. As I said, it will be back this year for TBRs, but keep an eye out for my video coming soon of like what my videos are going to look like this year, because that will explain exactly when you're going to be seeing this, because it won't quite be every month. I have something else I'm doing as well, which I will announce very soon, and that'll be in the intervening months. So keep an eye out for that. But thank you for watching. That is it for the video. Bye, and I'll see you in the next one.